Yo, 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 what is good, my good people? Yes, it is that time once again. Travail C.W. Lynch, Mr. What, and I is your self concept specialist. I know you're like, I thought you were the self worth specialist. I'll share a little bit more about that in just a few. But yes, welcome once again into the I Am the Possible universe, the place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, I don't have my magnifying glass with me this morning. Man, I left it on my desk, so I don't have my trusty dusty magnifying glass. I wish I did, but I don't. But the show must go on, as they say. But guys, thank you so much for rocking with me once again in the place to be, because there are so many amazing things to see. Today, I want to jump right into it. Today, we're talking about my favorite topic, the self-concept. Self-concept in terms of our communication and our contribution in the workplace. Guys, it is so important for us to develop a healthy self-concept. And I know that for many of us, the self-concept is one of those words it's so important, but not many people talk about it. It's so important, but not many people are aware of it. It's so important, it's so foundational, and it's something that we all have, and it's something that we all develop over time, but not many people are aware of it. And I really feel called to bring forth awareness, right? Obviously, the other three things that I'm really passionate about, right? Awareness, which moves into appreciation, which moves into acceptance, which then moves into application or activation of one's realization as it concerns themselves. But today it's all about awareness. So I want to share a story with you guys. I want to share a little value with you guys as this all relates and connects. All right. So let's just jump right into it, man. Today, the problem that I'm solving, the problem that we're addressing is that many people, we go to school, we get an education. Some of us go to college, right? We get additional education. And then we get into the workforce, right? We get into our careers, right? And I'm talking, and let me just kind of like back up a little bit. This is really applicable for all three of the areas that I'm really passionate about. This is about corporate America. This is about our local church. And this is about your community or your college experience. Okay. My three C's, right? Corporate, the church, and community slash college, higher ed. Okay. So this is applicable across the board, and how the self-concept intersects, right? Integrates with these three areas, because you may be a person that's in corporate America. You may be a person that's serving in your local church, or you may be a person that's serving within your local community or your college campus. Okay. And so what I've discovered is that, and this is really what I want to help to develop. Many people struggle in three major areas that lead to the fourth area that I'm most passionate about. They struggle with in these areas. They struggle with being engaged. They struggle with being very energetic. They struggle with being very effective, which leads me to my fourth one. They struggle with being very enterprising. Okay, my four E's, right? Very enterprising in their role within these areas. So I hope you're tracking with me, okay? So again, let me kind of break this down, make it really smooth, and then I want to provide the value and the solution. The problem that we're dealing with today, and you may have this problem. You're in corporate America, you're on your job, you're in a church, or you're in college, okay? Or you're in your community, and you're finding it hard to be engaged, energetic, and effective, which results in not being very enterprising in that given space. Now, it's whether you know it or not, really it's the goal for all of us, right? Because we're all leaders. The goal is for us to be enterprising leaders. That really is the goal. And let me just kind of break that down for you. What an enterprising leader is a leader that is not only resourceful, but they are leaders who are able to look at the whole. They are able to look at the collective and be able to say, how am I contributing to the collective? How do these pieces of the puzzle fit together? And how can I leverage my gifts, my talents, my treasures, the things that God has given me? How do I leverage these things? How do I plug these things in to helping the collective and the overall machine move forward? Right? So again, whether you're in the church, corporate America, in your community, it's your ability to have a vision and be able to see the collective and the whole, and how you can contribute and how you can play a vital role, a effective role in seeing the whole thing move forward, and for the collective to be victorious, for the collective to get the win. Okay. It's almost like playing on a football team or something like that, right? You don't want to just get your yards. You want the team to win the game, right? So that's really the heart of an enterprising leader, one that is able to see how things fit together, and one that is able to be resourceful and not only galvanizing others, but using and leveraging what they have to the collective good. And so it is my passion to help to create enterprising leaders on every level, okay, corporate, churches, and within the community. And so I see that there's this lack of those 3 E's that lead you to becoming that. We're not very engaged, we're not very energetic, and we're just not effective. But why is that? This is what brings me back to the self-concept. I think it has a lot to do with our self-concept. And one of the things that is so vital to our self-concept is knowing what's already there, knowing what we have, knowing who we are, knowing really what we are, right? Mr. What, right? Learning the what. You're not just a man or a woman. You're not just, if you're on your job, you're not just a project manager. You're not just a this. You're not just those things that are on the surface. There is a beneath the surface you. There is a soul. There is a spirit. There is a inner man, an inner woman. There is an essence to who you are. And that essence has gifts and talents, and it has just God-given, intrinsic, innate abilities that are contributions to the betterment of the whole. And I find that not many people are very aware and tuned in to what that is. That's why I'm Mr. What, because I want to bring some awareness to that what, baby. And so today I want to talk about how we can develop a better self-concept so that, this is the goal, a better self-concept leads to a better self-contribution. That's the goal. How do I contribute better, A, to the collective, and then B, how do I contribute to my own happiness? See, we don't talk about that much. My own contentment, my own joy. What I found to be true is that when I like to do something, I do that thing more often. When I like to go to a certain place, I go to that certain place more often. Yes, I'm more engaged. You see how this is starting to come together? I'm way more engaged. I'm way more energetic. I'm way more effective in the things that I actually enjoy. Right? I'm one of those guys, right? And if you've never heard it before, then give me all the credit for it. Just give me the credit for it, okay? I want to bring the enjoyment back to our employment, okay? I coined that first, okay? Just give me the credit for it. No, I'm just messing around. Well, I did kind of come up with it, but I'm just messing around as far as, give me the credit for it. Who cares who gets the credit? The Holy Spirit gets the credit. God gets the credit, okay? But yeah, man, if you enjoy it, then you're going to go back to it more often, right? So why not bring some enjoyment to your employment, right? And it doesn't have to be what you're getting paid for. It can just be activities that you're doing. Again, we're talking about corporate, we're talking about church, we're talking about the community, right? And even in the college space, because again, you're going there for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, some even 12 years. And some of you are sitting in classrooms, and again, you're not very engaged, energetic, or effective. You're just kind of in there because you were told that you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to have this career, but it has no real alignment with who you are. Okay. And that's probably not going to be a very good career path for you. You're going into debt, most of us. Um, and it's just not really what we're created and called to do. It really doesn't align with our contribution. And I think that's a huge problem. And it's a problem that I want to help to solve, that I am helping to solve. And so I'm just looking forward to helping you guys out today. So let's get to this, man. Let me share a story with you guys. I've been in corporate America going on 18 years now. And one thing that I discovered, because I came into the corporate space with no background, no experience, um, yeah, like my resume was little to nothing when it came to the work that I got hired to do. No background, no education, no experience. And so it was a 2-year contract, and I came in, and one thing I did have was a work ethic. So that work ethic got me through that first contract. And then they signed me on for another 2-year contract. And my work ethic got me through that contract. But then there came a fork in the road. And it was either let you go or hire you full time, because the contracts had kind of started to run out. And now it was time to find something that I was really going to either get hired to do long term, or they were going to let me go. And so I remember, again, not having a lot of experience. At this point now, I had like 4 or 5 years worth of, well, not five. I had 4 years worth of experience going into this 5th year. Now I had a resume to at least say, well, I've been with you guys for this amount of time. I've done these things, but the engagement and the the energy, being energetic, the effectiveness. I had the last one. I was effective because I had a strong work ethic. But on the inside, I struggled with engagement, and I struggled with energeticness, or that's not a word, being energetic, meaning loving to show up for work. I didn't love the work I was doing, but I had a family to feed. And as a responsible man, you just going to put food on the table, right? So you can just, as my wife likes to say, let's get your emotions out of it. Okay. And so it wasn't about my emotions, and it wasn't about liking what I was doing. It was about putting food on the table. It was about feeding my family. We had just relocated here to Southern California like 5 years earlier, and we were still struggling. We were still struggling to make ends meet, man. And a good friend of mine and mentor told me about this job opportunity. And so that's what got me into the first 2-year contract. So young family, we just moved to Southern California by faith, joined our local church here. And, we're getting along, paycheck to paycheck, but we were really not in a good place. And so this was the first job that really provided some steady income that could really start to provide and really cover all the bills. And so it was a good gig. It was a good opportunity. But again, coming back up to the story, now since I've been there for those 4 years, I had the work ethic. And this is when I started to learn more about myself. And this is where I'm going to start to tie in that self concept. I began to learn more about me through my church, through my own personal self studies. I love self-help books. I started going to seminars. I started, reading books more often, going to these seminars, listening to these motivational speakers. I really started to get engaged in just the self-improvement, self-development space on a personal level. This was just something I was doing in my own personal life. And so when it was time to, discuss going full time, I had the work ethic working for me, and now I had some experience. But now I needed something that was going to give me sort of a competitive edge, something that I could start to hang my hat on, something that was going to, create in my life some level of true engagement and some level of true, energy, being excited about going to work to some degree. Because after about 4, going into your 5th year, while the money might be good, you're just not content on the inside. You're not happy on the inside. You're just doing it, but it's not really what you want to do. And so as I began to learn that I loved to communicate, and the more I've developed my communication skills, And the more I got opportunities to speak and to do things through my church, through several nonprofits that I was connected to just in the community, I started getting some confidence because people started to comment on how well I communicated, on how well I spoke, on how effective I was in communicating. And so I began to use and leverage the communication skills within my resume as I began to interview for my next jobs. And I began to highlight my ability to effectively communicate in the corporate space. So long story short, I got hired into a full-time position, partly because I began to be more aware of my skill set, a natural God-given intrinsic skill set. See, I began to develop as a professional speaker and as a professional communicator once I became aware of something that God had already given me. See, a couple of years earlier, God had used a pastor of ours, Pastor Eric Brown, to come up to me and to share with me that I was a teacher. That's a spiritual gift for those of you who may not be connected to the church. And that ability that God's given me is the ability to communicate effectively things that might otherwise confuse other people or kind of make other people scratch their head. I'm able to take those difficult concepts and break them down and communicate them in such a way that people are able to understand them better. So as I grew in my understanding of what I already had, I was able to not only build confidence through, others affirming me and through the opportunities to communicate, but now I was able to say, this is a skill that's needed within this space. Maybe I don't have a bachelor's degree. Maybe I don't have a master's degree, but you know what I can do? I can learn anything that you're willing to teach me. And on top of that, I can communicate better than anybody you got on your team. Emails, phone calls, in-person presentations, content that needs to be communicated, projects, data, information that needs to be analyzed and communicated to leadership. I'm your man. I got you. And as I began to grow in my career, I began to get more and more opportunities to present, to speak, to share, to do little workshops, to do little presentations for leadership, to speak in this meeting, to speak in that meeting, to be the go-to for communication for my team. So now after, going on 18 years this year, it wasn't because I loved the core work that I was doing. I'm not an IT person. I'm not super into doing computer programs. I'm good. I'm efficient. But I worked myself into a position where pretty much primarily I get to communicate. I get to communicate with other people on my team. I get to communicate with stakeholders. I get to communicate with business partners. I get to communicate, man, because that's my passion and that's the gift that I have. And so through me over time, learning and becoming aware of what I have, beginning to develop that craft and work on that craft, beginning to share with the world, hey, this is who I am and this is what I bring to the table. And there's value for what I do in this space because a huge part of this organization is communication, which is really at the center of anything that's going to be successful, to be honest, right? So I have a skill set that is in high demand, and I've been able to take a 2-year contract and turn it into a 6-figure income. I want you to hear that again. A 2-year contract I turned into a 6-figure income with no experience, no background, no education. Why? Because I became aware of what I have. And I began to craft a greater self-concept. I began to see myself as one who added value, one that carried great value, and one that had a place in any context. Because my gift, my talent, my ability makes whatever I'm attached to go. And the same is true for you. We all have gifts. We all have talents. We all have something. The what? It's already there. It's already what you are. And when you become aware of what you are, your confidence goes up. The self-concept begins to get reconfigured. Now, in this short video, of course, there were other things that contributed to my self-concept. Obviously, there's other things that helped me to develop a better sense of worth and value in this world, of course. But we only have so much time in one video. That's why I'm so happy that I get to record another one. But for now, I just want you to know that there is something that you have that's already there, that's always been there, that as you become aware of it, you can improve your self-concept. Now, last two things. One, I apologize. I've been talking about this topic for a little while, and I forgot to kind of lay the foundation. Maybe you don't know what a self-concept is. Let me summarize for you in the easiest possible way. It's the way you see yourself. It's the ideas that you have about yourself. It's what you believe about yourself. It's the concept of you. What do you think about you? What do you believe about you? How do you see yourself? What's the image that you have? See, that idea, that image, that vision of you, it's an informant. It will inform you of what you think you can and cannot have, what you can and cannot be, and what you can and cannot do. That's why it is so critical that you learn what a self-concept is and how it works and how to improve it. I'm going to leave you with something that, again, maybe you're not aware of, but I think is pretty cool. Something called Strength Finders. I'm not sure if you guys, and I'm not like an affiliate or anything like that. They've blessed me, and so now I'm sharing it with you guys. But it's called Strength Finders. Okay, and I don't know if you guys know anything about strengths, but I'm big on self-assessments. I'm really big on studying myself, learning what I am, what I have, right? And helping you to do the same. Well, we all have strengths, just like we all have personalities, we all have gifts, we all have talents. We all have a strength. And a strength is something that it transcends all relationships, jobs, environments. It's just attached to you. But it is most valuable in the context of a team or a partnership. And it comes to life most often when you are engaged in some sort of project, event, any sort of work effort towards something. It's your contribution to the collective. That's why I love talking about enterprising leadership, because it's all about seeing the collective good and the collective advancement. But it's also, how do you plug in and help to make that engine go, right? So let me just read for you one of mine. Now, one of my strengths is something called futuristic. Futuristic. I won't read everything here, but in a nutshell, what futuristic is I have the ability to vision cast or to see things that maybe others can't see. I'm always asking the question, how do we improve this? What's the possibilities? How could this be better? Where could this go? I have a unique ability to have a conversation with a person and they can share with me, things that they like to do, or maybe, things that they're interested in. And I've just got this futuristic strength to be able to quickly identify and envision and help them to envision the possibilities that await them, things that they could do with what God's already given them, right? So that's my passion. And so this futuristic gift, if you're not aware of it, you can actually become not so inspired, but you can become deflated, because you get around folks and you're always talking about what's possible. Man, this could be, man, that could be. And you get around the wrong people and They don't want to hear about what's possible. They don't want to hear about how this could improve, how we can innovate this, how we can improve this. They just want to keep the status quo. They just want to keep things as is. They don't want change. They don't want innovation. They don't want newness. And so, for a long time, I've been futuristic in environments where it was like, no, man, we're not trying to change. We're not trying to get better. We're not trying to. No, what are you talking about? No, let's keep it the way that it is, because, we have an agenda over here, right? I won't say no names. I won't go into it. But my point in sharing this is that when you become aware of what you have, you can then become aware, oh, these spaces don't honor what I have. These spaces are not filling me. And so then you can value yourself more, not get down on yourself and say something's wrong with me. No, nothing's wrong with me for dreaming like this. Something is not aligned. And what it is my gifts don't align with this environment, right? I have value in this area, but maybe other people don't recognize my value, or their agenda is preventing them from allowing my value to be added, but it ain't nothing wrong with me, right? So learning what you have and then being able to discern who values what I have. Where can I plug in what I have, right? The self-concept. This is all about self-awareness. And so let me just read to you one of the things that's true for someone who has this strength of futuristic. It says, excuse me, and this is the action step that they have in the book. So after they explain, what your strength is, it then tells you, this is how you are to take some action on it. Choose roles in which you can contribute your ideas about the future. Again, not everyone's going to allow you to. Not everyone wants to hear about that. But it says choose roles. In other words, choose careers, jobs, positions, ministries. Choose places within your community that actually allow and want and welcome your strength. So I need to be looking for areas where I can contribute my ideas, because I'm an idea man. It don't take me very long. I come up with ideas all day long. I currently have thousands of emails right now, thousands of emails that I've sent to myself. They're just all ideas. And maybe I'll use them one day, maybe I won't, but I love ideas. And I don't want one to get away, because that one might be the one that changes someone's life. So this helps me to understand, oh, this is the kind of job I need to get. This is the kind of career path I need to get. Let me share one more, and then I'll wrap a big bow on this and shut it down. It says, seek audiences who appreciate your ideas for the future. They will expect you to make these ideas reality, and these expectations will then motivate you. That's another clue to where I need to be spending my time. Places that want my ideas. And then they will look to me as the leader, the enterprising leader, to bring those things to pass. And then through their expectations of me, I'm going to be motivated. So it's a win-win-win. They're motivated, win. I'm motivated, win. And then the organization moves forward, win. All we do is win, baby, when you have a healthy self-concept. Now, let me wrap a big bow on this. Remember, we started with our 4 E's: engaged, energetic, effective, which leads to being an enterprising leader. Guys, this is the key to you, because your life should include that. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. It's my opinion that your life, like, you're going to spend 20, 30, 40, 50 years on a job, in a career. Shouldn't you be engaged? Like, shouldn't you be locked and loaded? You're going to spend that many hours, that much of your life, and we only get one? You're going to spend that much of your life on a job and you're not engaged? You're not energetic because you don't want to be there? You're not very effective because you don't really care about it? And so you don't become enterprising? You don't become resourceful? You don't help contribute to the success of anything? Guys, no. This can all be remedied through the self-concept and through you understanding things like your strengths. When you learn what you have, what's already there, and then you begin to develop it and then begin to leverage it, and you begin to find the spaces and places that appreciate what you have and want what you have, look at what's possible. I took a 2-year contract and turned it into a 6-figure income. That's one of many, many testimonies, but I can't tell it all. I can't tell it all in one video. So I'll just share that one for now. But if you're looking for those kinds of results, if you're looking for that kind of change in your life, if you're looking for that kind of turnaround, if you're looking for that kind of progress, then it begins with the self-concept. It begins with you developing your self-concept, learning what it is. Google it. What is the self-concept? Let's start getting educated. Let's start getting aware of what it is. And then let's begin to do some assessments that's going to help us to improve our self-concept. I'm going to put the link to my personal masterclass, and it's not called the Self-Concept Masterclass. When I developed it, I wasn't even aware of the self-concept. I guess intrinsically, I was communicating and contributing to it, and it was my cause on the inside, but I personally was not aware of it. I'm going to do at some point this year an updated version, like a 2.0. I'm going to redo it and add some new content to it. But I'm gonna put the link to that masterclass in these show notes. So whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, whether you're listening on my podcast platform, wherever you are, man, you can click that link and go ahead and get that masterclass so you can learn the assessments that I've used personally. Okay. And you're going to be able to go through this video. It's not a very long video. I talk about my life, my story, my turnaround. It shares a lot about my personal stuff. And then it provides you a guide, a step-by-step on how to take these assessments, links to get to them. They're all free. And yeah, man, you can begin to cultivate a healthy self-concept. All right. So listen, I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I'm believing in you guys. I hope and pray that this has added some value, that this has motivated and this has encouraged you to make the connection between your concept and your contribution in whatever context you might find yourself. All right. That is it until next time, man. Thanks once again for rocking with me in the I Am the Possible universe, the place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, leave me a review, a comment, a question, anything. Engage. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. I want to hear from you. All right. Till next time. Love.